You can break through plateaus, lift pain-free, and build sustainable strength for life. So in this training, I am going to talk about the simplest, most effective approach to building strength long term. So here's what makes this different. Everything that I'm going to talk about is not theory. It's what I'm doing every day with my clients, what my clients are doing every day, both in the gym and online. And just we're going to talk about what's working for us overall. Now, I've spent many years honing my training and coaching approach, not only to build the strength that lifters want and myself wanted, but to make training not enjoyable, make it manageable for daily life, and to make it consistently rewarding. So, my main thing, I love helping lifters overcome the plateaus that are ailing them. I love helping them stay injury-free with the right form, technique, and load management. And I like seeing lifters enjoy the journey. I like seeing them hit new PRs and unlocking what is possible. So we're going to break down step by step exactly what we do there. So let's just first talk about who this video isn't for. I want you to leave the video if this isn't something that's going to jive with you, right? So let's get that out of the way first. So one type that I don't want here, who this isn't for, is beginners who haven't committed to learning proper training. If you are just starting in the gym and you're going in, kind of doing your thing, just hitting the circuit machines, you're hitting some weights, getting on the treadmill machines, and you happened upon this video and you're wanting to focus on learning the fundamentals of real training, then this approach isn't going to be effective for you. If you're looking for quick fixes, if you're looking for something to fix your training and fix your lifts in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or, a month even, this isn't going to be for you. Again, real training, making progress, getting strong. The process of getting strong takes a ton of focus, a ton of discipline, and there's no gimmick that's going to help that come on fast, right? So who this is for, however, is lifters who have a genuine interest in improving their strength and their lifts. So you've been training for a while. You've been getting after it in the gym. You're diligent. You do your own research. You have been on the forums. You have been trying to do the program, the starting strength program effectively. Maybe you've been into intermediate training and you're trying to figure out how to optimize best for you going forward. But your gains have slowed down. Maybe you're hurting in, your shoulders or your hips or something, and you've hit a plateau overall, but you're wanting to make a leap forward. You're wanting to continue to improving. So again, maybe you're injury prone and stalled. I get people coming to me all the time who've been doing the starting strength program, who have achy hips or achy knees or an achy back or bum shoulders or bicep tendonitis from a squat grip or something like that. And it's keeping you from training effectively and it's keeping you from making the progress you want. Okay. So if that is something you're dealing with, then this approach is for you. Okay. Maybe you're confused about programming. The starting strength program is so simple, or, basic barbell plans that maybe you've been working on are so simple to follow. It's 3x5. It's 3 or 4 main lifts, a couple accessory movements, but you've been doing that and you've made progress, but you're unsure if you should stick to the strategy that you're doing, or if you need to start moving up from a training advancement standpoint into something a little bit more tailored to you. Okay. So you're just overall unsure how to navigate your training progression. You're at a sticking point, right? If you're a technique focused lifter. So again, you're committed to training the right way. You're committed to burying your squats, having the right deadlift setup, having the right setups for your pressing movements, and wanting to do things very, very well with proper technique so that your training can be effective. Okay. Maybe you're goal driven. I work with guys a lot that want to hit the strength standards that I talk about all the time. That 135 press, 225 bench, 315 squat, 405 deadlift, or maybe the standards 2.0, where the 500-pound deadlift, the 405 squat, something along those lines. So you want to achieve those goals because you know that, hey, if I can get the certain level of strength, then my physique goals, my lifestyle goals, everything is going to fall into place. Okay. Lastly, you're here for the long haul. You want to train and you want to get strong and you want to make it a lifestyle. You're not focused on just hitting the numbers and then hanging it up. You have a long-term outlook in mind for this. Okay. So if any of this resonates with you, let's talk about the solutions going forward. But first, let's talk about my story. You've came onto this from one of my social media channels. You have happened upon this from Twitter or X, as it's now called, Instagram, something along those lines. So I often get people where they're like, man, I don't know your story. You just seem pretty cool online. So here's some background stuff on why and how I got into coaching and how I've developed my approach and what I'm doing currently to help lifters. So my early days of training began as I was a college baseball player. Going up through high school, going up early into my college, I turned my nose up at training, believe it or not. I thought that lifting weights was going to make me slow and unathletic, and that heavy lifting with my arms or my back is going to hurt my throwing arm or hurt my mechanics. But the reality was that I was already slow and I was already pretty unathletic, and that wouldn't have affected me. So I thought that training was a waste of time. Well, anyway, going into college, I landed on campus and realized I was way behind a ton of my peers, my competition, my teammates physically. And this was a kick in the face where I needed to get stronger. And I started doing research on how to get stronger, what I needed to do. We did some lifting and stuff with the team, but it was nothing crazy, nothing too terribly structured. So I found starting strength and some other basic barbell programs and tried to follow them on my own. And I made a ton of mistakes. Did too much volume, didn't actually read into the program. So I didn't know that there was more than one phase of the starting strength program. I thought you just deadlifted 3 times per week forever, adding 5 pounds. And I thought that, you just add 5 pounds to your squat forever, and ended up, squatting with horrible form. And then I would hop to a different program and come back to it. And overall, I wasn't eating enough or recovering enough. You're in college. So, you're on a college eating budget. It's, cereal and ramen noodles and bar food for the most part. So definitely didn't do this optimally. But despite that, even with a lot of stuff suboptimal, I had the dog in me to train, and I saw a benefit of building strength, and my performance on the field improved a ton. Well, after my baseball career got over, I set out to become a baseball coach. I wanted to coach at the college professional level. And the issue with when you're starting that is those entry-level positions pay like McDonald's wages, probably actually worse than McDonald's wages. So I needed a flexible side job to make some extra cash, mostly to take my girlfriend out, who's now my wife, and pay for beer. Honestly, that was what was going on at that point. But I decided that, hey, I like lifting. I've done a ton of research. I've gotten decently strong. I've figured this stuff out a little bit. So I'm going to start coaching people. And I took on anybody that I could. I worked at a little box gym where they would spoon feed clients who would come in needing a personal trainer. And I would coach family, friends, anybody that would listen, young, short, tall, fat, old, people with messed up arms. I worked with athletes. I worked with retirees there for a little bit. And to my surprise, I got pretty good at that. And I improved at getting people stronger, gained the confidence to open up my own facility after a few years. And in 2021, I opened up Ground Zero Strength here in Twin Falls, Idaho. So this is where I've really started to refine my coaching approach and taking on a ton of diverse in-person clients. So I've got an expansive background in in-person coaching before I really dabbled into the online training. And after all that, I eventually traveled to Wichita Falls, Texas, and met with Mark Ripito and the starting strength team. I had done their coaching development pipeline, and I opted in to take their coaching exam, which has about a 10% pass rate overall, and even less than that for first-time opt-in persons. So, and I'm one of the roughly 150 coaches worldwide who have earned the starting strength credential now and currently hold it. My gym is also a starting strength affiliate gym. So since then, using all the background, using the starting strength stuff, I've been looking to expand my reach and really gotten into the world of online coaching, the world of online content, with all the knowledge and stuff that I have in my background to help lifters worldwide now. So I apply all the principles that I learned from coaching starting strength, from coaching lifters in my gym through my online coaching program. And now I work with people in all corners of the USA. Got clients in Australia, Canada, Europe, India, and we're all focused on getting stronger the right way with a principle-based approach. So let's just talk about the wrong way of training. And let's talk about the right way of what we need to do. Okay. So the wrong approach is when we're going to get stronger, is doing a lot. So having high volume, low specificity. So a lot of guys will get in there and they're piling on a ton of volume without understanding what their training level is or what they're actually going for, or understanding what the demands of their body are. Okay. So we're going in as a new lifter, but we're picking our favorite bodybuilders split and we're running it and we're wondering why we're not getting any bigger and stronger. Now, the second one is training advancement and not understanding where you are. The two most common things I see from lifters who have been doing the starting strength program or something like that is that they stick to the novice program too long, or they're doing advanced programming too soon. So there's two sides of that coin. One is where, hey, I've been doing this novice program. I've been doing 3x5. I've been doing 1x5 deadlifts 3 times a week for a year. And I wonder why my back hurts. I wonder why my hips hurt. And I wonder why I haven't made any progress on my deadlift. Well, it's because you can't keep deadlifting 3 times a week, right? You need to move past the novice phase and get into the next stages of training progression, right? Or people that do advanced programming too soon. Maybe they just find a 5-day strength training split online that uses RPE and a ton of fillers, a ton of accessory work, and a ton of targeted stuff going on. Just this, and maybe there's weekly or there's like an 8-week cycle, different loading progressions going on through there. So you're running a volume phase, an intensity phase, a peaking phase. Meanwhile, you can't even squat 225 to depth for a set of 5. So in that case, you need to be on that novice program and you just need to do it better than before. Okay. So another way that people mess up is chasing big numbers. So guys will get so dead set on hitting certain numbers without a clear strategy of progression leading up to them. So, I'm at a 235 by 5 deadlift today, but hey, let's just see if 315 will go today. And then they pull 315 sloppy and then hurt themselves. And then that sets their training back a ton, right? So we want to focus on numbers because the process to hitting numbers over time is exactly what we need to do in our training, but we need to have a progression leading up to them. We need to follow the program to get there. Okay. We can't just load the weight and hope it works. Or, I've seen guys say like, oh, I squatted 405 for 1 a couple years ago. Here's the video. Well, they squatted 6 inches down and stood back up. They didn't squat it to depth, but by golly, you had it on your back and you think, oh, I'm a 405 squatter. No, you're not, right? So again, chasing big numbers is awesome as long as we're doing the things we need to do to get there. Okay. Again, kind of a sacrificing form for gains type situations. It goes along with the big numbers of just loading a bunch of weight on, saying, F it to form. Let's just try and move weight from A to B without understanding how we need to do it. This is how injuries occur. This is how setbacks occur, right? Again, having the wrong attitude, weight over form, looking for just rapid progress, doing the least amount of work possible. Oh, I can only get into the gym 1 time, 3 times a week for 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe, but that's not the way that's not the way you're going to actually get strong and get the most out of it, right? So the last thing is the perpetual starting strength lifter. This is one that I deal with a lot, is if you're trying to milk that NLP out for too long without getting into intermediate training. That's how injuries accrue. That's how setbacks accrue. That's how you get stalled. That's how you get frustrated and ultimately quit. So understanding that starting strength is starting strength, not perpetual strength. You need to get away from that plan quick. And the sooner you do, it's a sign of progression, man. Right? So anyway, let's talk about the right approach to training. Having a structured plan. So each training day, each training week that we schedule has a clear purpose. There's focus on heavy, intense work or productive volume, or if you're maybe just doing the program right, the focus is on making sure you're nailing stuff with good form and hitting your recovery parameters that you need to and adding weight the next time. Again, so hitting each lift with enough frequency to progress. For those more advanced lifters, maybe you need more. We need to split those training days up. We need to spread the stress out. Maybe we're doing that heavy, light, medium. Maybe we're doing an upper, lower. Maybe we're doing an extra day of hypertrophy work, or maybe some more GPP work, right? But we have a structured plan, and we're working backwards from our goal to where we are now and how we can get there. So we have smart, realistic programming, where the program is based not on emotions, you trying to hit a certain number, or how you feel that day, or the latest trends, or what your favorite influencer is doing, or what you think you need to progress. It's based on your level of training advancement and your ability to adapt to the stress. That is what good programming is all about, okay? We focus on consistent measured gains. We're not looking to hit the massive PR with the sake of everything else. We're prioritizing consistent progress over those PRs to minimize injuries, minimize setbacks, and over time accumulate the strength adaptations you need to hit those goals. We're looking at, as you progress, a big mistake lifters make is thinking, oh, I just need the barbell lifts. That's all I need. That works for a while when you're a novice, because literally, like, if you've been sitting in a beanbag chair all day, naked eating Cheetos, and that's all you do every day, and all of a sudden you go ride a bike, well, you're going to get stronger from riding that bike because there's that adaptation. So anything works at the start. The barbell lifts are that way. You get really strong with those big systematic barbell lifts, but eventually just about everybody needs targeted accessory work. So if you got into a place where you stall on the upper body lifts, maybe we need some more frequency on pressing. We get that with some supplemental lifts. Adding productive training volume without causing a bunch of extra fatigue, okay? Then another piece of the right approach is having the correct attitude. So you have the attitude that there's a value in good technique, there's patience, you're focused on working hard. When you get into the gym, you're ready to go, you're ready to do the work, even if you don't want to. That's the right attitude you need to build strength over time. And then lastly, to touch on starting strength, is beyond the novice program. You want to get out of the novice programming to a more tailored approach sooner rather than later again. So there's the old way versus the wrong way. And let's talk about the Ground Zero Strength Performance Method. So there's a ton of different paths to training, but when you choose a path that's principle backed, it's sustainable and built to adapt to your life, not the other way around, that's when you see success. So again, what most people do, people don't even worry about learning why you want to train the way you do. So there's a lack of education on how to progress training. People don't follow programs. They jump from a program to program to program and wonder why they never make progress. We train based on the feelings or ego or whatever is trending and rely on shortcuts, supplements, or inconsistent training. So let's talk about the smart training system, the Ground Zero Strength approach, what I do every day with lifters online and in the gym. Okay, so here's where we start. We focus on nailing the basics, but better. So one guy who does the starting strength novice linear progression, who has sloppy form, doesn't take care of his recovery, doesn't follow the program, doesn't know when to spread the stress out, just bangs away at it incorrectly. Even though he's doing the same program and he's literally writing it down in his logbook, he does not get as good of results as the guy who goes in there and he nails his form. He nails his recovery, what he needs to do for recovery. He nails his eating. He knows and he makes intelligent programming decisions. He knows when he needs to spread the stress out. He knows when, hey, that deadlift was heavy enough that I need to add a power clean or a row to let myself recover for the next one. He knows when he needs to add a light squat day in between his heavy squat days. He knows when he needs to go to heavy, light, medium approach. He knows when he needs to add more frequency to his upper body lifts, right? So we're still doing those basic movements, but we're doing them better and more intelligently than if we just do it however we want, right? Next, we understand that the process of training is the goal. Training is an accumulation of sessions and stress over time. We focus on doing the things that we need to today, this week. We need to nail this week's training to hit the goals that we aim for later on, okay? We focus on having adaptive programming. I know that we can write down the perfect program, but sometimes it's not going to get executed right. So we're going to split training up intelligently according to your training advancement, okay? We're going to use the frameworks that fit into your schedule, into what you can do with your training to manage the intensity, the volume, the technique, everything that we need to build your capacity over time, okay? We're focusing on simplicity over complexity. So we're not throwing random stuff up there, the latest gimmick. We're just doing those basics exceptionally well, but I understand that we're going to need variation to progress, and we're going to need individualization to progress over time to hammer away at your goals. But we have to do the simple things first and then get more advanced. Lastly, education of training is a big thing. I understand as a coach that clients are going to work with me forever. You may not even follow me online forever, but I want my trainees to not only follow the program that we have laid out, to execute on that, but I want them to understand the principles and the methods behind what we're doing. So when they can move on, when they need to move on, they can train themselves for life. Okay. So let's talk about just how we implement this and how we implement this smart training system. So everybody needs to figure out how many days a week they can train. 2 to 4. If you're doing the in LP, you're doing 3 days a week, right? If you're older, maybe only 2 is all you need. If you're a little bit more advanced or you need to spend less time in the gym each day, a 4-day-a-week plan works. But we implement exactly how many days we can fit in the week, and all of these sessions are deliberate and focused. We're balancing volume and intensity. We're balancing your recovery. We're balancing your loading to make sure you're fresh, make sure you're making progress, and it's all based on where you are from a training advancement perspective. Again, we do the simple stuff first, get more advanced later. Then we figure out the framework that fits in. Is this a 3-day split? Is this a 4-day split? Is this a little bit more specialized? Where are you now versus where do you want to be, and what kind of program are we going to need? So again, whichever framework that I have that makes the most sense for where you are, and the focus is on progressing the barbell lifts and getting you stronger over time. We'll add in the targeted accessory work that we need. A lot of really taller, lankier guys need some volume work to grow in addition to the strength work. If we all just got big and strong off of squat, bench, deadlift, press, we would know it. So figuring out what, how, and exactly which weak points we have, what stuff we need to do to continue progressing. We build that strength engine with the main lifts, but we tune that engine up with the accessory and supplemental work. Okay. And then we focus on recovery and balance. We're making sure we're eating right with our nutrition. We're making sure we're giving ourselves enough time to adapt. We're making sure that we're pushing the limits, but respecting what the body can handle. Okay. So that's our approach. That's our smart training system that we use. Those 4 main things right there. So let's just talk about how I help improve training. This isn't a sales pitch. This is more, I want you to know how I can help. And I've got multiple ways of doing that. It's funny. I've been coaching for years. I've been putting content online for years, and I'll still get people be like, hey, you do online coaching? How does that work? Or you have this community? How does that work? Like, wait, you don't just post online. There's more resources behind the table. So I just want to let you know, here is how I can help you improve your training. Number one is just the free content I put out on X or Twitter and on YouTube. I've been blasting out free game on there forever. Like if you go type in Sam at GZ Strength on Twitter and put deadlift in there, you'll find threads and posts and threads and posts and comments on the deadlift, programming, anything. Twitter, use that search function on there. I also have tons of free resources. I'm posting on the time, giving people links to download free lifting guides, programming guides, stuff that I've come up with that you can get and you can use. I also have the Ground Zero Strength community. It's a low-cost online platform hosted via Slack, and you can get programming questions answered, technique, nutrition, training and support, and some more exclusive training resources if you hop in on that. It's low cost, just a monthly membership that you can get on there and get a ton of info out. I also do programming technique audits. Maybe you don't have it in your budget. Maybe you aren't entirely sure if coaching is right for you, but you want some guidance. So you can hop on the one-on-one call, take a look at your programming, your technique, your nutrition, and we develop a game plan over the course of an hour, looking at your lifts, looking at your programming to figure out what exactly you need to do to progress. That's one way of doing it. Now, there's obviously in-person coaching at my facility. I do starting strength camps a couple times a year, focusing on the barbell lifts. And then let's talk about the bread and butter, my online performance coaching. We'll just briefly touch on how exactly that works. I don't want to get it too into detail, but you come on, we do a consultation process. We figure out what strength, we use proven strength systems, and we figure out what we need to implement to keep you going. So there's no cookie cutter plans. It's based on the methods of starting strength, and it's intermediate and advanced programming philosophies. And then my job is adapting those to fit what your needs are, what we need to fix, what do we need to do to make sure you progress. Okay. I use personalized coaching. So whether you need an overhaul to your programming, you need help with your technique, you need advice on nutrition, I'm there to support you. I give you in-depth feedback and guidance going forward, right? So this involves all sorts of stuff here, custom programming. It's a monthly process. We master the lifts. We focus on, if you have some aches, pains, injuries that you're dealing with, we focus on getting those dialed in. We focus on your nutrition that you need. A lot of people aren't eating enough to support the progress, or maybe you're eating too much, getting a little fluffy, right? Focus on your mindset and motivation. And all coaching comes with the Ground Zero Strength community, where you can get community support, Q&A. Okay. As for test client stories, I don't want to bore you with testimonials. I got a list on my website of videos of clients that are talking about it. I'm posting all the time about, the big lifts that my clients are hitting. So you can see that on the timeline. Quite frankly, if I posted a bunch of before after photos on here, how would you know if they weren't faked or not, right? That's the famous thing to say is, hey, a testimonial, all you have to do is take one picture with bad lighting, unflexed, and then flex in good lighting in the other one, and it looks like you made a ton of progress from a testimonial picture, right? So I'm not going to bore you with that. But what I can tell you is that with my training background, coaching people in my gym, coaching people prior to opening my gym, coaching people online, I've worked with hundreds of individuals that are wanting to get stronger, and many of them face all the problems that we discussed today. Maybe they're making the same mistakes that we discussed today, same mistakes I made, same mistakes my clients have made going forward in the past, and I've ran into tons of different problems. So any problem that you have with your strength training, I have ran into, and I love figuring out a way to fix them so you can get stronger, so you can enjoy life as a strong dude and get stronger than you ever thought possible. So, if you're ready to break through plateaus, if you're wanting to fix your programming for good, if you're wanting to fix your technique on your lifts, if you're unsure what to do next in your training, just DM me the keyword strong, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Ground Zero Strength Performance Method and how that applies to you. Most lifters come on and we add 50 to 100 pounds to their lifts over 16 weeks, 4 months. And guys are lifting way more than they ever thought possible because we fixed some of the things that's going on in their training, and they take their training to the next level with it comes with that. And honestly, if not, if you're like, hey, that was a cool video, I see your approach, and you just want to keep following me on X and watch YouTube and get on there, maybe get on the free form checks that I do online, that's fine too. But now hopefully you've got a good idea of what I do, what my approach is, and how training can be improved using this stuff.